The next speaker would be Representative Winfield. Welcome to the GA Committee, Representative. Good to see you here.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair Spallone and Schlossberg, members of the committee. I'm here to testify in general on the clean election fund that we have. It is my opinion that it has done a good service for the state of Connecticut, and not just the state of Connecticut, but for elections in general. I had the opportunity last fall to speak at the Congressional Black Caucus on clean elections based on the fact that I was participating here in the state of Connecticut. And many people got a lot out of that and took what I said back to their states and are working on making sure that their states participate also. In a general sense, people such as myself who have participated in the process as advocates don't necessarily have the ability to participate on in the manner that we are now participating as elected officials, and part of that is because of the money that is required in order to get in. And so I think that having a system such as the one that we have now allows for different voices to be heard. And I think that if we are to continue going out to the public talking about the need for more voices in the system, then we have to be about the business of making the system accessible to that public that we're speaking to. And the system that we have had has not been accessible, and I think we all know that. And so I come today encouraging us to be careful when we make cuts, understanding the situation we find ourselves in terms of the budget. But we can also find ourselves in a situation where it becomes the culture of the body to look to the Clean Elections Fund because we are elected, and it is not as valuable to us as elected officials as it may be to members of the public who may be seeking to do what we do. And so I didn't have my testimony, but I would just say I'm in opposition to Bill 5366 and 1109. And then one more thing, because I'll try to beat the buzzer, in response to Representative Hetherington, I just think that while we may not show an increase in the number of people participating, it's not that, in my opinion, it's not necessarily that more people have to run, it's that more people are able to run. And that's something that we have to keep in mind, that just because the number hasn't gone up doesn't mean we haven't done a good thing. Thank you.
Thank you for your concise testimony. I had a quick question before I seek out the members. And that was a great opportunity and honor to address the Congressional Black Caucus on campaign finance. Did any of the members, you said they're bringing it back to their states, was there any interest among them in pushing public financing in Congress?
There was talk about it. I didn't. In terms of in Congress, we didn't have an extensive conversation, so I couldn't really speak about where that's gone. But I know in several of the states, people have gone back to talk about what Connecticut is doing. And so I just look at Connecticut as a model in some ways for pushing for clean elections across the country.
Yes, we hope they're watching. And thank you. Do other members have questions? Representative Fleischman?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for your testimony. I'm curious, in your experience with the system, did you have either at the primary stage or general election stage an opponent who also accessed the citizens election system?
I did. In the primary and I believe in the general election, I had both opponents access the system. Yes.
And you represent a district in New Haven. Sometimes in districts where there is a disproportionate number of people registered for one party or another, you can have a history of lack of competition, either at the primary stage or at the general election stage. Do you feel that the citizens election system may actually, in the case of your district, have helped bring back some energy and vitality to competition in the primary and general stages?
I think so. I will say that I was fortunate in that I did not actually have to participate in the system. I could have raised money because of some of the activism. I have national networks. But I chose to participate because I see it as, in some ways, a civil rights issue, allowing people whose voice would be excluded into the system. And so if I'm going to be about talking about civil rights and accessing the system, I thought that I had to participate under the system. But in direct answer to your question, yes, I see it as bringing back competition, because had I not had that ability and I were the same person, I would not have been able to run. And even though we are we are a single party city, there is not much competition because, well, that's how single party cities work. And I was not supposed to win according to conventional wisdom, yet I sit here before you because I was able to participate in that system.
That's great, and I think it's really powerful testament to the impacts that this approach can have. And just for the record, I want to note that there was an increase in the number of competitive races in Connecticut last cycle over the previous cycle. And, there are lots of different factors that go into why that happens. But I think that precisely what happened in your district happened in a lot of districts in the state, which is why we had far fewer uncontested seats than we had had in some of the previous cycles. And I thank you for your really eloquent testimony.
Thank you.
Representative Hetherington.
Thank you, Representative. Thank you for coming and sharing this. And let me say that
trigger locks, safes,